Over the years of playing Cities Skylines 1, I tested over 100 mods, and today I will tell you which 10 of them are the ones you absolutely need. I divided this video into categories, which was a bit tricky. I tried to choose the best, most needed mods within each category. This is what I came up with, so let's go! First category, map related and global visuals. If your city gives vanilla, there are multiple mods that can be of use. Good greenery is a must, so mods like Bob allows you to either apply changes to individual assets, like changing trees in your park for example, or globally changing trees on the whole map. So if you combine it with dynamic foliage, it will give you a nice seasonal color shift, kinda like Cities Skylines 2 does by default. And another cosmetic mod, random tree rotation, will prevent the trees from facing the same way, which looks pretty off. Forest brush, again something that Cities Skylines 2 has by default. Our Sims do not live in the bush, right? So we should polish the roads too. Network skins allow to recolor or retexture specific road sections, toggle streetlights, sidewalks, looks, etc. And there's also a carp height adjuster, which is a minor mod that lowers carps to more realistic levels. Cool cosmetic mod. Surface Painter is great for changing terrain textures, for example grass to gravel, useful to avoid cluttering a map with decal prop. No bias mod. There were times when I was going insane by floating bios in fairy lanes, you know what I mean, and there are now mods like Hide It that has the same functionality, but for the sake of honesty I leave it here. It's 100 mods I tested, right? But if you want to play with map even more, there is Team Mixer, which is kinda graphic mod as it affects sky colors, etc, but also textures like, I don't know, like how the rocks or grass look. Similar or not is Environmental Changer, which allows changing environment when loading a save, which game normally logs to your chosen team when starting the city. And Ultimate Eye Candy, or Now Plate is more used, controls the lighting, weather, time of day, or even simulation speed if you want to tweak those settings. For example, you hate to build in the rain or in the dark. And Zoom It. Whether it fits that category, don't ask me. Once you make your map looks perfect, it's time for cinematic close-up of your Sims faces, so it's a cool tool to use because the game, the base game, locks the view to some distance. And the winner is 18 tiles. Why? It gives you freedom to start wherever you want instead of dedicated tile, which often is in the middle of nowhere and messes up your city design. This lets you build on every dumb corner of the map without glitches. Does not limit you to 25 tiles only. You might start at the outskirts, move your city forward. It also has the use roads as power lines, which mimics the CS2 default option, which I personally love too. And second, building, actual act of building. Advanced building level control, lots of words. It helps you to control the level of building, prevents or force upgrades, and bonus points for toggling abandonment. And building control, which sounds similar, but it refers to placing single buildings, and most importantly, it controls ground flattening and has few more cool options. I spoke more about those two in my no zoning video tutorial, which should pop up here. And when it comes to ground, extra landscaping tools. It has nice brush to landscape and upgrade. It's less clunky than base game terraforming, so it's a cool tool to have. Line tool. Basically, it lets you paint with props and make straight or curve or weirdly shaped lines. So it's lovely for example, row of trees. Procedural objects is an in-game asset editor basically, which sounds complicated, and it is. something that pros use. It has a lot of options which allows you to reshape objects in so many ways, rotating them freely upside down or even changing the shapes completely, like elongating them, and textures could be a winner. But let's leave it for pros, right? And if you want to just change asset colors, use Repaint or Painter, you will be good, it's simple. Prop and Tree Anarchy, another classic, allows your props sentries be literally anywhere on the water, on the road, and more realistically in the backyard of your houses. And once you place those props, don't forget to get a prop precision mod, which is needed, though since normally prop snap to grid and go off slightly when you reload the save. Movable bridge mod. This is a bit pro and requires additional mods, but if you want to have real movable bridges whenever ship approaches, you can play around with it. And we are almost there. Rico helps to fix stats on your buildings, especially bigger ones, custom assets. You can set population or job count to more realistic levels, so those huge skyscrapers can house a realistic amount of households. And the winner is... Move It! Swiss Army knife of CS1. It's everywhere as it should be. You can select and drag and freely move basically anything in a game, from single tree to whole building, whole neighborhood. You can precisely move around nodes of roads. Now when everything is nicely arranged, simulation and economy. Customize it lets you tweak almost every number tied to building, upkeep cost, electricity use, worker count, service range, you name it, kinda similar like Rico but has more options. Realistic walking speed, this one's pretty simple, more cosmetic, and anything budgeting is worth getting. Better budget, auto budget, total auto budget, they are helpers, not perfect managers, remember, but still save you the constant war with power or water sliders. The best one is total auto budget, so if you want something, get this one. Realistic population fixes how the game underestimates how many people should live in a given building. This mod fixes that by scaling households and job counts based on the actual size of the building model. And we have two winners in this category. First is similar to the previous mod. In vanilla, citizens have very predictable lifespan. You will get a lot of death waves after some time in the game, so life cycle rebalance. It fixes that by spreading out ages more naturally, so you don't get those huge death waves, and the mod is still maintained and works well alongside other population tweaks like realistic population, and Industries DLC added a lot of complexity, but sometimes it feels very unbalanced. Too much production, weird job counts, too much trucks, you know what I mean? So the next winner is... Rebalance Industries, which fix most of that issues, tweaks production chains, costs, worker distribution to make the industry sector behave more realistically, and it's adjustable so you can play around with settings. Graphics. And that deserves separate video, and you're lucky because a full dedicated video on that too. So I don't want to waste your time, I don't want to waste my time either and repeating myself, so I will just leave it here and in the comment. Just say, because it's one of the 10 most essential mods, I would get Render It, because it's all-in-one post-processing control mod, but what it does, in short, Render It lets you adjust everything from anti-aliasing to bloom to shadow bias in one place. Basically combines the settings from most of the other small mods like, I don't know, shadow adjuster, etc., which has single option. This has all combined, but it's a little bit more complicated. The newer version is Lumina. There is even a full guide on how to play with it on the Steam, so check it out. And other than that, check out full video for more about graphics. User interface. UI resolution is a mod that improves how the interface scales at higher resolution, and this will make everything look crisp and properly sized. So unified UI is worth to get because it organizes all your mod buttons into one clean toolbar, so if you have a lot of mods, then they pop up in the cluster. The camera movement mod lets you tune how the camera behaves, zoom speed, blurring is all adjustable and you can really see the difference. And you can get first person camera mod, but it's more for the playing. It lets you hop into a Sims perspective and walk right around your city. And speaking of Sims, this mod, which is favorite Sims, lets you mark certain residents as favorites so you can track them easily, just like in Skylines 2. And there's a bunch of it mods, which are lifesavers. Hide It, which has a lot of options that let you hide all the annoying elements, in-game objects like seagulls, fog, ruins. Also, you can get no problem notification, separate mod, so if you get spammed with, I don't know, not enough buyers or not enough workers buttons, it will silence those pop-ups. It doesn't fix the issue, it just hides the alerts. And Resize It, this one lets you scale UI windows to better fit your screen setup. For example, you can make the asset menu taller or shrink info panels. Undo It, basically undo button for many build actions like placing roads, you can just undo it. Automatic bulldoze, on the other hand, removes the busy work of clearing abandoned or burned down buildings. In vanilla you have to manually bulldoze them, which gets very tedious fast. And Picker, which allows you to just click on the building, prop or road, and the mod automatically selects it in the build menu. If you don't want to search for each tree, you can just use the Picker. And the winner of this category is Find It. Why? It speeds building so much. This one is I would say, the most essential UI mods out there. Powerful search bar to the asset menu, which lets you type in names and quickly locate buildings, props or network. If you have 1,000 of workshop assets, or even if you don't, this is a lifesaver, and especially if you like to place each building one by one, because otherwise when you zone it's impossible to find the single building. Let me know in the comments what you would pick, what is something that you consider essential. Traffic. So there are some mods that are more building oriented, like intersection marking tool, which allows you to draw custom marks on roads with cool panel with lots of options to add arrows, zebra crossing, lines, fillers, everything, but it's not functional though. And node controller is a bit more advanced, complementary to previous, and it allows you to change nodes shape and angle it. I really like the slope function to make them less bumpy. You can actually add functional crosswalks. Parking lot snapping, it works with parking lot roads asset set, which was a huge thing before base game had parkings, and I think it's still a more realistic way to place parkings in game, and this allows to snap them quicker. Precision engineering helps to snap to angles and show more statistics to achieve more geometric, I would say, and accurate layout. Network multi-tool is our first winner of this category because it has everything you can think of when building layouts and huge highway intersections. You can add or remove nodes, match intersections, split nodes, align them in line or cycles, make slopes, or even create like very looped curve or parallel roads automatically. Lots of function, you have to play with it. It's perfect. If you are intimidated by previous mod, just take Roundabout Builder. It has simple shortcut where you can transfer any intersection to roundabout very quickly. And another mod replaced by Network Multi-Tool is Parallel Road Tool. So instead of manually drawing a second parallel road, for example on the highway, it automatically generates parallel copy. For simulation, we have a real gas station, which is a really cool mod, adds fuel demand to the game and make cars and trucks seek out gas stations to refill their cars. Vehicle selectors control exactly which vehicles will spawn from each building, for example from fire station, which fire trucks will pop up. Network anarchy is really cool, I use it a lot. Allows you to ignore placement rules, which is called collision free mode, as well as cool multi-feature panel that allows you to add elevations, tunnels, slope, etc. To remove collision on water, ship path anarchy, you can place ship paths anywhere, even in shallow waters. Crossings allows manual placement of pedestrian crosswalk on any road, cool if you have a long single road without any crossings. Better lane change smooths out how cars switch lanes, because in the base game vehicles often slam the brakes and do very sharp turns to change lanes, which cause traffic jams and just look stupid. And the winner is, of course, you know that already, Traffic Manager. Even the option panel already is insane. It gives you control over roads and junctions, and you can do anything. Lane arrows, parking, speed limits, priority signs, time traffic lights, and more. It's extremely popular and essential for traffic enthusiasts. Public transport. These mods give you way more control over your transit lines. For example, advanced stop selection. So in the vanilla you sometimes have to fight with the game to place stops exactly where you want. With this mod you can place them freely at the right part of the roads just like you want. Similarly, shared stop enabled. Normally in City Skylines different transit types can share the same stop, and this mod removes the restrictions. Buses and trams stop at the same curb. Extra train station tracks, on the other hand, adds more variety to your train station by enabling multiple platform setup. In vanilla you are stuck with pretty limited number of tracks, which makes big hubs very frustrating, and with this mod you can build stations that actually feel like, you know, central rail terminals in the big city. More effective transfer manager. The vanilla system often sends sims or cargo on pretty inefficient routes, so this mod just fixed that. Unlimited outside connections, which is a mod that removes limit on outside connection, which lets you build as many as you want. Once you have a perfect public transport layout, you can get CSL map view. It generates the picture with all the lines set up, stops, roads, whatever you want. You can use different options. And speaking of transit lines, the winner is Improve Public Transport. Fan favorite transit management upgrade. It lets you rename and manage individual vehicles, set specific models to certain lines, and adjust line budgets more flexibly, so you can basically micromanage. And the mod is stable and still works fine today, though it can be heavy in very large cities, and I think the base game replaced some functions of it. And last but not least, functional mods. So this batch is all about performance and bug fixes. We need that. It's 2025. We need to fix the performance. Broken nodes detector. This mod scans your city for broken or bugged nodes in the road and network system that often cause stuck vehicles and traffic, so you can easily find and fix them. Chirpy exterminator. It's simple but legendary. This mod silences, removes the chirpy, which is annoying and spamming. Custom animation loader lets you add custom animations for props, vehicles, or other custom assets. Similar to it, but for the effects, it's custom effect loader. Speed slider mod gives you fine control over game speed. Vanilla has only 3 speeds, and you can speed things way up or slow them down with the slider. FPS Buster or Mini FPS Buster, these mods tweak some settings and you know, all the coding stuff I have no idea about, but they please save you few FPS just like that without affecting the game in any other way. If you mod a lot, you also need extended error reporting because vanilla error messages are cryptic at best, and this mod gives you more detailed info about what's causing a crash or bug, and you can also just disable the error notifications if you have no idea what. There are more units, so more citizens units. In vanilla there's a hard cap on how many citizen units can exist, and this mod raised that cap, which lets very large population to behave correctly. And the same, you have more path units, which idea is the same, but it's more for path finding, so the calculating the routes that scenes can take. And the winner is an absolute classic. Loading screen mode optimize how assets load, drastically cutting loading times and reducing RAM use. It also shows a detailed report of what assets are being loaded, so you can catch duplicates or missing dependencies, and still one of the most recommended modes in the entire workshop, and most people say it's essential if you use lots of custom content. And there's actually 9 category, which is others, and let me skip that because although getting harmony or patch loader are mostly essential for other mods to function, it's nothing more than a script other than real functional mods, so let's forget about it. I will just mention Skyve really quickly. Skyve is sort of a mod manager, not a gameplay mod, a standalone manager, compatibility checker. To exclude mods or assets from the game, you can update, it finds updates on the, identifies some that are really old and buggy, and it shows detailed conflict reports without even starting the game. And that's all, my full mod collection is on Steam, linked in the pinned comment. Remember to read the descriptions and comments under each mod and avoid mass subbing. You can sub me instead and it will be good. And check out full playlist with mod related stuff for even more details, especially on the graphics. So have a nice day and bye!